And how are we doing today, guys? Group B wraps up here for Wafcon, and every team are alive. Every team can still qualify, and we're going to be here for every moment of the action, of the positivity, of the chaos. As you can see, guys, welcome back to the Shape of Football. We do primarily African Canadian content here, so if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, hit the like button so it can help with a little bit of visibility and whatnot. But today is all about Group B. And it's about Group B mainly because we know what Group A is. And we're going to throw that up onto the screen here as we wait. Kickoff is going in about 54 minutes, a few seconds, give or take. But let me throw that up here for you so you can see what is at stake as we now have three three teams qualified for the quarterfinals of AFCON, which again, WAFCON serves as not only a continental tournament, but every other year it is the World Cup qualifier. And so, 8 teams, we go from 16 teams to 8. And from those 8 teams, we go down to 4, and 4 teams will be vying for a spot in the 2027 Women's World Cup happening in Brazil next summer. And so yesterday we saw Morocco get a draw and Algeria get a win over Senegal and Kenya respectfully. And as a result, Kenya now top the group, Algeria in second. Senegal and Kenya have to wait 2 more years for another AFCON to come through, but also they have to now begin to prepare for World Olympic qualifiers, which CAF will be getting going there as well. So with Group A complete and Group D, who have Cameroon going through because they have the head to head that's going through, those are the 3 teams moving on. We reach Group B, and Group B is the only group where all 4 teams are still alive. All 4 teams are still alive. So currently, you have Cote d'Ivoire sitting up top the group with 4 points. They have 6 goals for, 3 goals against. Then they have Tanzania, who are underneath them with 3 points, tied with Burkina Faso, but because of, and I'll get to this in a second, head to head, they stand on top of them. And then, no, that's wrong. This is wrong because head to head is Burkina Faso, and then it's Tanzania. It's not by goal difference. So, you know what? We're switching off of this screen. We're going to give you a more correct screen. WAFCON, where are we at? Apologies for that. Here, I'm looking at this, I'm like, this seems off. And it is off because you have Burkina Faso who are sitting in second because they have the head to head. Then Tanzania, who sit in third. And then from there in fourth, South Africa with 1 point. And they are set that way because the first tiebreaker is goal. Not goal difference. It is head to head. So instead of this, let me show you this here. And this is the correct ranking. Tiebreakers being head to head. So it's Cote d'Ivoire in first, Burkina Faso in second, Tanzania in third, and South Africa in fourth. And this actually makes sense because Ivory Coast have Cote d'Ivoire have the head to head over Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso have the head to head over Tanzania, and Tanzania have the head to head over South Africa. And so, with South Africa getting the important draw versus Cote d'Ivoire, they are still alive on the final match day. And we'll start with South Africa because their scenario is very simple. They need a win and then a loss by Tanzania. They cannot have a draw because if it's a draw by Tanzania with their game over Cote d'Ivoire, they will then lose out due to head to head being the tiebreaker. So the matchups today, again, if we haven't said that already, are Burkina Faso versus South Africa and Tanzania versus Cote d'Ivoire. Those are the matchups. So for South Africa, for Banyaya Banya, a team that we have grown accustomed to seeing them at least compete, reaching the semifinals, getting to the finals in these type of competitions, they need a win and then a loss by Tanzania, and that gets them through. That puts them through to the quarterfinals. That's what they need. When it comes to Tanzania, who are facing Cote d'Ivoire, a draw could get them through as if everything ends in a draw. Should have started with that. Everything stays the same. So if all 4 teams draw their games, so 2 games, 2 draws, nothing moves, things stay the same. That's where it is. For Tanzania, they need a win and they need a South Africa loss. No, sorry, they need a Burkina Faso loss. This one gets complicated because there's so many different working variables that come through. And if you guys have anything to add, throw into the comments as well. Throw your predictions as well. Who should go through this group? Who you think deserves? Who's surprised in this group? All the questions they will go there. But for Tanzania, it's a win versus Cote d'Ivoire. A draw keeps them safe as well, as long as South Africa win. A win puts them through. A draw, as long as Burkina Faso loses to South Africa, they will go through. So Tanzania, a win or a draw should get them through as long as South Africa defeats Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso then wins. Then they are behind them on goal difference, and they would have to then try to pass Cote d'Ivoire, of which they are playing. And so a win over Cote d'Ivoire for Tanzania would put them ahead of them. And then whatever happens with the Burkina Faso or South Africa matchup, Tanzania would then go over because they would have the 6 points. Are you with me so far? It gets complicated and life goes. Burkina Faso, they currently sit in third. For them, they are playing South Africa, Banyana Banyana, and simply put, a draw on all levels keeps everything the same. A win for them, which would be over South Africa, and then Tanzania losing, they still move on. Tanzania winning, they would move on because they would have 4 points, and Cote d'Ivoire will then drop down to 4 points with a win. So Burkina Faso, very simple, win and you're in. And for Cote d'Ivoire, who play Tanzania in their final matchup, Tanzania, a draw should keep them safe. They're almost through. They have more of a foot into it, but there's still some complications that'll run through with it because of the goal difference that comes through. So for Cote d'Ivoire, as their final matchup, as you know, they're playing Tanzania, a draw puts them at 5 points, and the only team that could pass them from there would be Burkina Faso. So then they would be safe. If they draw, yeah, a draw or a win, and they should be moving through. So that are the scenarios. I hope that made sense. We'll go through those a little bit later as we get closer to kickoff on both matchups. But I did want to spend a little time and talk about what has been interesting to me, which has been we've seen more of the other than I think Morocco in this tournament. I think the teams that you were hoping to get through, the teams that you expected, I'm sorry, to get through and perform, I think we've been a little bit disappointed with the results, right? The likes of South Africa, the likes of a Nigeria have not looked too convincing so far. And we've seen the other teams emerge. Malawi looking good. We saw a Zambia side, which tomorrow that will be my full attention. Yeah, Nigeria will probably beat Egypt tomorrow. Whatever. But that Malawi Zambia game, that will be where my attention is. But it's been interesting to see the teams that you expect to deliver in this type of a scenario not doing so. And then you have to ask the question, is it just style? Is it preparation? Is it teams improving? And I think if we look at South Africa, I think it's a bit of a combination of all three, right? They've been, because we just finished watching the men's World Cup. South Africa, to me, are giving me a lot of Turkey vibes. A side that we thought would do well, but for whatever reason, the style hasn't produced the goals. Just haven't been as clinical in front of the net as they'd like to be. Haven't been able to score as many goals. The passing is there, the possession is there, the chances are there. They just don't have the goals to show for it. Meanwhile, in their games, they've just played teams that have in transition, in those transition moments, have just been clinical. Tanzania did that to them. They didn't have more than three chances, three big chances, but they score on two of them. They get the Cote d'Ivoire, and even the Cote d'Ivoire game, it didn't feel like Cote d'Ivoire were going to be able to hold on to the lead just stylistically, just with South Africa building and ramping up. But still, their first half, up until about the 60th minute, it was they made the most of their chances and they left a little bit of meat on the bone there for them. And so we've seen more. And It's a bit of a continuation from the men's World Cup we just watched, which was you're seeing more teams trying to be a lot more effective to varying degrees on this defending and transition football, which, hey, it's getting you results. It can get you results against teams, but ultimately you do want to be able to build to a point where then your whole game plan isn't just let's just sit and play counter because eventually you'll face a team that says you want to give us the ball. Okay, okay, and 4 goals later you'll sit and think, huh, maybe we should try to do this, progress, try this scoring goals thing. But in this tournament so far, we've seen teams that have been able to be successful playing that transition football for where they sit, and I think you're going to see that especially as a way to try to minimize the difference of quality and styles, technical ability as well. You're going to see that type of thing happen mainly because look, it's the easiest it's the easiest equalizer, right? If you can be effective, and that's the key thing, you have to be able to be effective. And yes, Tanzania have been able to do that. Cote d'Ivoire have been able to do that. But then you saw Burkina Faso who came through and looked better than a Tanzania. Then ultimately, that's what makes this group more wide open as it sits. And so as we wait for the game to get going again, score. We certainly are going to be keeping an eye on everything that is going on. Again, we'll keep an eye on both games as we're flowing through, and we'll keep you updated when a goal comes in, when a moment happens. It'll be tough to score. I know some people have been showing it. We will just be keeping a score bug there to keep you both aware of the games that are happening. But just want to scroll down here and take a look at some of the other headlines of this competition. As you can see, Morocco are on the bracket with Cameroon, runner up of Group C. That bracket looks very interesting. And then Algeria will have Group B winner, and then we're waiting for Group B and then C and D tomorrow coming through. I want to scroll down and look at goal scorers, players who have played well. Barbara Banda, 4 goals against Egypt, unable to find the back of the net versus Nigeria. I think that, again, that Malawi matchup is going to be very interesting. Temwa Chawinga versus both Nigeria and Egypt. Give her a little bit more credit for what she's done with Ngamanga, who's got 3 goals in 2 games, 2 versus Mali, 1 versus Ghana. It's been good. Marine Defao with a cracking set piece yesterday versus Kenya. Gets it going. Ines Conan, Grace Seri, and then Girardi. I think the and something I've said here on this channel, on this conversation, I think the decision again to go to 16 teams, I think it was warranted based off of the teams you were leaving out in the competition. Because you had teams like Mali, you had teams, and even in this situation, you had teams like both Mali, the 2 teams who didn't qualify for this competition were added at the end of it. Think about that, right? That's the interesting thing. Cameroon did not qualify for this competition, right? Cameroon did not. As I just jump back to the top here and show you the teams. Yeah, Cameroon did not qualify for this competition. Cote d'Ivoire are leading the group. Mali are playing on Thursday for a chance to make the quarterfinals. That's 3 of the 4 teams, and then Egypt were there too. And it was just like, yeah, Egypt. Benin looks at Egypt and thinks, like, it should have been us. We made Nigeria struggle, and then now it doesn't look like that big of a deal now. Where it sees Nigeria just struggling against everyone. But if the team that you left out of the competition, one's already won their group, another one is playing to make the next, another one is leading its group so far, and a draw gets them through, that makes it a very, I think it was the right, I think they should have got to 16 based off of the teams that were there. Again, nothing against the teams, nothing against Cameroon, Mali, Cote d'Ivoire, or Egypt. I just wish they had actually qualified. I really wish they had qualified or had some sort of a playoff for them to qualify to go through because it just feels like you gave a team a chance, right? This feels like It feels like it's a Club World Cup, and then you just decide, we'll put Inter Miami in there. Why? Well, they lost in the League's Cup for MLS, and Messi's on the team, so we need Messi. And again, not making it just feels like we just force the teams in. And look, credit to them, they've done much with their second lives, right? You've seen that Cameroon side, little Eto in the middle, who's looked good. She has looked good. I'm wondering what her next step after this competition will be. That's also a very fun thing. I wonder which players you might look at and say, huh, maybe a move somewhere interesting could be intriguing. But to me, I think you can't now go back with the thought of, yeah, they should have added more teams. I just feel that your final matchups, you should have just, if they had just run it as a, if they had just run it as a competition, because again, they had three, six, can't count, six, nine, 11 teams that were saying they just took the top four. I feel like they could have gone a different, they could have gone a different manner to go through because then they just took the four highest ranked sides, but again, a DR Congo who lost 2-1 to South Africa. They're looking at this thinking, I'll throw this up to you here. They're looking at this thinking, we could have done something here. Could we have not? Right? Cote d'Ivoire side who lost 5-4 to Senegal. Okay, Cote d'Ivoire over there. Mali who lost 4-3 to Cape Verde. They have a point. Benin losing 3-1 on aggregate to Nigeria. To that I say, yeah, they're probably thinking we maybe should have been there. Maybe over Egypt. Like the Egypt inclusion, sorry Cleopatra's. That was the one I looked at and said, them? You could have brought Togo, and look, ultimately they brought the right teams through, so good on them for that. But Egypt, because they're the highest ranked, Ghana, who have struggled to score goals in this competition, put 7 against Egypt. Think about that. Again, nothing against Egypt. The Cleopatra's, yeah, you made it. You scored a goal. You only lost 3-1 to Malawi. It's lessons, it's learning steps, it's a progression for them. But you're looking at these sides, and you're thinking, man, I wish they could have actually done this better. But maybe next year's edition they'll actually have it properly. Maybe they'll have a playoff at the end. We'll have to wait and see for certain. But Group B, again, this is what we're here to watch, and we're definitely going to do our best to keep you abreast of everything that's going on. We'll be sitting there and watching it as we go. And so we'll have one game up. We'll be keeping, I'll have the dual screens up here. I'll let you know what is going on with each game as we move. And this will be a very fun afternoon. If you're just swinging by, hit that like button. Let me know what you think. Also, give me your predictions as you're swinging by. I'm very much curious to see who you have coming out of this group. I think there's two aspects which make this group very interesting. It's South Africa should, right? They should defeat Burkina Faso. And maybe the Burkina Faso game is the game where they finally find the goal scoring. But Tanzania versus Cote d'Ivoire on paper should be Cote d'Ivoire taking that win, but they've just decided to be very efficient on counter opportunities and transition that I can see that game ending in a draw. And if that game ends in a draw, then there's nothing really that South Africa can do. Right. And so for me, I would like to see, I think the teams I would like to see come out of the group would be Cote d'Ivoire and South Africa. I think South Africa losing their first game really put them behind the 8 ball. And so I'm not sure if, because for Tanzania, a draw keeps them ahead of South Africa. That's all they need. A draw is all they need. So as a result, a game ending 3-3, Tanzania, that's a win for you because you're moving on. And so that's where I'm wondering if Cote d'Ivoire can find enough finishing against them. Now, on paper, Right, you're looking at Cote d'Ivoire's women's side. That is currently the 72nd ranked African side, according to FIFA ranking. The 72nd ranked side, where Tanzania are the 122nd. Now, that should be, and I'll throw that here for you. Now, again, if you're just going based off of rankings, sure. But we also saw the 122nd side defeat the 57th ranked side. So all bets are off here. Everything we know, throw it out the window. This should be a South Africa win, but we've seen South Africa struggle against a less difficult side. Barely. And so if Burkina Faso are in the same range of a Tanzania, that's where the worry would be for me. But I think it's again, if you look at it on paper, that's where I think it should be Cote d'Ivoire and South Africa moving on. But we'll have to wait. See, like even when you look at a team like Ghana right now are at 60th, but they again have struggled to score goals against the 120th side. And then they play at a Cameroon side who they are, which is about by FIFA rankings, is their level. And they just struggle. The Ghana story has just been struggling to score, but we'll deal with Ghana in 2 days. And so I worry for South Africa that they've dug themselves too much of a hole. A draw versus Tanzania would have opened things up far more for them, would made things a little bit more easier. But now, just without the goal, without that additional point, Tanzania just need a draw and they'll finish ahead of South Africa regardless of what they do because the head to head is there. So that's where I worry. And if South Africa goes out, that might be the biggest shock. Because if you go to even look at Group C, right? Even if you look at Group C, there's a pathway, right? As much as you don't want to, or as much as some of us were or weren't. Look, I I had Nigeria, Zambia getting out of their group. But there was a pathway for Malawi, who currently lead their group and are sitting basically one foot into the quarterfinals. There was a pathway for them to do it because you can make the argument that Zambia and Malawi are effectively the same type of side. Just one may have a better defense than the other, slightly. And we'll see what that looks like when they play on tomorrow. But for Group B, you're scrolling back in, that's where it becomes a little bit more difficult to say. If South Africa don't make it out, I think that's the shock of the tournament. Because at least with Nigeria, there's a pathway with those three sides, right? For Group B to turn into a group that is just wide open like it is, that is someone had to have dropped the ball there, and I think that's where it's South Africa and it's on Banyana Banyana, and that's where we sit and we'll watch, see what happens. But we will throw up that in a few minutes. We're about 30 minutes away from kickoff as we're going there. Again, if you're looking for where to watch it, look, many people on YouTube are streaming it because apparently CAF cares so much about the African Women's Cup of Nations, the Women's African Cup of Nations, so they'll let some other channels just stream it with no regards. And if they made agreements, good for them. But they find it on YouTube if you're looking for legal. It is on YouTube if you're outside of areas where there's a television structure. What I would advise you to do here would be I'm watching it on the CAF YouTube channel. I'm emotionally and spiritually in the UK, but I currently am in Canada. So get a VPN, switch your locations to the UK, and then go to CAF's YouTube channel. You can watch it there. Both games will be going, and we certainly will be watching it because I think there's going to be a very. This might be the story outside of course, of the winner who qualifies for it. The other story may be who fails to qualify for it, and that might come down to where a team like South Africa, that first game as it's on the screen, that first game that they lose, that really sets them back because now a draw puts them ahead. But now Tanzania with that win, just a win, a draw and a win does nothing for South Africa. They need Tanzania to score. And so you're going to hear a lot of me saying, okay, Tanzania are up. South Africa are eliminated regardless what they do. Oh, Tanzania are drawn. South Africa have life. South Africa are ahead. Maybe they can do something here, but that's what it is. That is what it is currently. And so I will be very much watching. We certainly are going to enjoy it. And we'll be back here again tomorrow for Wednesday for Group C. We'll be back for Group D. We were going to jump on for Group A, but I was going to see how the games are going at halftime. It was a holiday yesterday, but we had tasks to do, different things to accomplish, all the fun things. And as a result, we stayed off, but put up a video a little bit later on. And so that is what we are watching. And this is what's going to make it very intriguing. And again, to remind you what else is at stake here, as I'll just jump all over the place on the screen, it is World Cup qualification. And the semifinalists make the World Cup. And it's that simple. It is very much that simple. And so there's two routes to make the World Cup. A, through the quarterfinals to semifinals. And if you lose the semi quarterfinals, there's another route. So, route A, you make the quarterfinals and then you win your quarterfinal matchup. So, right now, Morocco, Cameroon, Algeria confirmed have two chances to make the World Cup. And then the next five teams coming in will have two chances to make the Women's World Cup next year. The first route is defeat your quarterfinal team and make the semifinals. You make the semifinals, that's four direct tickets. Cash it in, go to the airport, enjoy the beaches of Sao Paulo, and enjoy Brazil next summer. You will be there. If you lose the quarterfinals, so let's just say, for argument's sake, because there's only three teams that are qualified so far, let's use those three teams: Cameroon, Morocco, and Algeria. So let's say they all lose their quarterfinal matchup. They will then go into the playing match. They're going to re-rank the teams. So in this case, it would more than likely be Morocco, who are 64th ranked, Algeria, who are the 74th ranked, and then Cameroon, who are the 71st ranked. And so at this rate, it would be, let's just say for argument's sake, there's another team there. So it would be Morocco versus the lowest ranked team, and then Algeria would play Cameroon. Now, the winner of those two matchups, as you see here, they would then find themselves off to the Interconfederational Playoff, which takes place next year. No, it takes place at the end of this year. Fun fact. I should have looked that up properly here. So it takes place at the end of this year, and that's where we will see where the teams are. And what they'll do is they'll put the teams into three tiers. Okay, they'll draw them there. Tie breaks for tiers, blah, blah, blah. Summary there. Wonderful. Matches, seeded team versus unseeded team, and then seed one versus one, two, two, three, and three. And you'll have three pathways. You'll have three pathways to run through to it. So currently in the Intercontinental Playoff pathway, we have from the Asian Confederation, you have Chinese Taipei and Uzbekistan. CAF will find out as of the 13th. So in about 11 days, 9 days actually. CONCACAF will find out in December. And then Common Bowl, it's Venezuela and Ecuador. For Oceanic, it is Papua New Guinea. And then we'll find out at the end of December. Again, that was wrong, as I said, for the European side. Now, there will be, as a result, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. Is that right? 2. 1, 2, 8, 2, 3, 4, 8, 10 teams. So there's going to be three pathways. Now, what they did in last World Cup's edition is they had three pathways of three teams and then one pathway with four teams. And to show you what that looks like, so you are aware. So you are aware. So in the 2023 edition, there were 10 teams, three, and these were the teams here: Portugal, Chile, Chinese Taipei, Papua New Guinea. Again, familiar faces: Thailand, Paraguay, Haiti, Panama, Cameroon, and Senegal. That's where they come from. Now, they were put into three pathways. You had pathway one, which was Cameroon, Thailand, and then Portugal. Portugal being the highest ranked side. They went and had a bye to the final. Group B, it was Senegal, Haiti. Haiti defeated Senegal, and then they faced Chile. Haiti did in the final. Haiti won at 2-0. They went to the World Cup. And then the third pathway was four teams. So you had Chinese Taipei and then Paraguay on one side, and then Papua New Guinea and then Panama on the other side. They didn't want a team with that didn't start with P to make it through there. So, and then Panama defeated Paraguay in that final, and those were the three teams added IC playoff for that round. So if you are an African side, you have two pathways to make it. And so making the quarterfinals gives you two options. If you just win the quarterfinal game, you are on your way to the World Cup. If you fall in the quarterfinals, you have to then win your next game to then play probably 2 to 3 more games to qualify for the World Cup. So it's either win the quarterfinals, one game to go to the World Cup, or probably have to play and win 4 more games to make the World Cup. So just win the quarterfinals. I'll do it. Or will Nigeria suffer defending champion exit? Well, that's I don't think. Hmm. I mean, because Nigeria have recorded and won so many, it does make me wonder if we've actually had that many sides who have gone with the champions curse. Because I don't think we've had something like that on the Wafcon side. Though we look at the last three winners, that could be interesting because 2024's winner, as you can see, was Nigeria. 2022's winner was South Africa, as you can see there on the side here. So South Africa won it in 2022. And then in 28, there was nothing in 2020 because, cough, 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 mask. And then in 2018, the winner was Nigeria again. And in 2016, the winner was Nigeria again. You're never going to believe who the winner in 2014 was. Nigeria again. I think more recently you've had more variety in the winners, but it was really just Nigeria, South Africa, and then Nigeria again. The only interesting thing is having a South Africa side who may won it and then failed to make the finals, but then you also have to factor in that they played Nigeria in the semifinals. And so I don't know if it's a champion's curse. I think the one thing with Nigeria to really speak on them is their preparation was very poor, in my opinion. Dixon, sir, I am well, I am well, doing my best to take in all the football as we sit. World Cup was fun, other than, the very clear biases, but we move on. And then, yeah, now we have women's AFCON. And then, in the evening, starting tonight, and tomorrow, we have the CONCACAF U20s. That they'll be fighting for qualification for the U20 World Cup. So, yeah, I've been all over football and then keeping an eye on preseason and the likes. But I've been well, Dixon. How have you been? How have you been, good sir? So, yeah, to this point, Manash, yeah, Manash. Like, Manash, I don't know if it's a champion's exit, but I don't think Nigeria defended well. Or not defended. I don't think they prepared well. And I think you're seeing some of the fruits of that lack of preparation. In the same breath, as I say this, I could say, "Oh, Ghana prepared very well." Yeah, they struggled to score. They struggled to score 1 goal in 2 games. So preparation. I just think that for Nigeria, I don't think it's a curse for the champions. I think Nigeria. I think their FF, the NFF, literally looked at last tournament and said, "Well, we didn't really prepare and we won, so we could do it again." And they didn't factor their group. And then when they look, and then because this group, look, Malawi was going to test someone. Zambia was always going to be. You always have the blinders of 5-0 in the quarterfinals will always be a very good disillusional moment. But in this game, they barely got past Zambia. Like they got past Zambia and they had chances to really bury them. They couldn't. And Zambia didn't have too many quality chances. Nadozi didn't have to bail them out. But I still continue to go on. I think the preparation for Nigeria for the Super Falcons, that's really what's rearing its ugly head here. And so with that being the case, that's where we sit. Oh, the Ghana one. What did we do in this one? See, now I need to know. 8 teams to 12 teams, and then 12 teams to 16 teams. And if they, yeah, that's a thing. And if they then, hey, if they then expand the World Cup, that's going to be interesting because the talk is more than likely that the 2031 World Cup is going to be a 48 team World Cup on the women's side. And if that's the case, then you really leave yourself in a position where, uh, how much more do you expand this? Right? Because 48 on the men's side, they went from four or five sides, all the way to nine sides plus a spot in the intercontinental playoff. If you go all the way to 48 sides, yes, it's too late in the day, even though it's just early afternoon to do this math. But let me do this math real quick here. Okay, let's go. 2026 World Cup, the men's slots, and I want to see what they go from, because they go from nine to. Let's jump back here. Let me jump back here. Okay, those were the sides. So CAF had 5 slots, and then they went to 9. But it was 8/9 because Morocco's run brought them up. So if they go all of a sudden from 5 sides, it's like that's the thing. That's the thing. I'm looking way too far in advance here, but now I'm trying to do this math here, and I really shouldn't be, because for the women's they did 4 for Africa. Was the Yeah, they did 4 spots for Africa, and then 2 into the then they had 2 for the IC playoff. So if CAF got 4 slots, the men usually got 5. AFC had 6. Compare that with, we're really doing this math here. Okay, let's qualification, female World Cup. That's that. Okay. We're committed to this math for no reason. Doesn't This math doesn't matter though, but we're committed to it. Uh I wonder how many slots Africa gets if they go to 48. It's probably going to be 8. And then does that make them change how they do qualification? That's what I'm curious about. Because if they change how they do qualification, then you're looking at possibly, would they just do what they normally do, which is just go for women's qualification, and CAF is always interesting because the only tournaments that they run are just Wafcon. Outside of that, it's home and away all the way till you reach the end. That's what they do for Olympics. That's what they do for, they nearly have a qualification tournament. They just they have the opportunity to do it when it comes to women's AFCON and the like. So I wonder how they'd run it if they'd have exercise. But we are about 16 minutes with a few seconds away from the matchups getting going. And let me actually grab a sip here before we go through the scenarios one more time. So these scenarios one more time for you, just so that we all know what's coming up. And I've already forgotten half of them, but let's work our way through it. So again, Group B is what we're going to be watching today, and that is, as the group currently stands, it's Cote d'Ivoire in first with 4 points, Burkina Faso with 3, Tanzania with 3, and then South Africa with 1. So for we'll start from the bottom because it's the easiest from the bottom. The middle gets complicated, but let's start from the bottom. South Africa, it's very simple. They need a win and a Tanzania loss. It's that simple. A win from South Africa and a Tanzania loss, and they are moving on. But then they would finish in the runner-up spot. and that means a win and a loss. A South Africa win and a Tanzania loss means it's South Africa versus Cameroon. I mean, South Africa versus Morocco to make the World Cup in the quarterfinals, and that was the finals 2 tournaments ago. And so I'm intrigued to see what happens there. For Tanzania, a draw and a South Africa win, they move on. A win and a South Africa win, they move on. Because again, the matchups are South Tanzania are playing Cote d'Ivoire, and Burkina Faso are playing South Africa. If that wasn't said again, so Tanzania are a draw and a South Africa win, they move on. A draw and a draw, they goes on. If everyone draws here, it's the same thing. So Cote d'Ivoire goes up, Burkina Faso, and then Tanzania sit at the bottom there. For Burkina Faso, a draw versus South Africa and a draw versus Tanzania, which is all 4 draws, they stay. A win, they move on. A loss versus South Africa, they don't go through. So Burkina Faso, don't lose. For Tanzania, don't lose, but hope for other things to happen too. For South Africa, you gotta win and hope that Tanzania lose. And then Cote d'Ivoire, a draw gets them through, and then also a win gets them through. Simply put, that is the simplest way to describe it. Those are your scenarios as we sit about 15 minutes away from kickoff from both games. As we sit 16 minutes away from kickoff, both games. And so that is what is at stake for Group B. And again, because they'll be playing Group A, depending on who wins, if the group stays the same, the matchups would be Burkina Faso versus Morocco in the quarterfinals, and then Cote d'Ivoire versus Algeria in the quarterfinals. Both games for a spot in the semifinals, but importantly, a spot in the 2027 Women's World Cup happening in Brazil next summer. Well, the men's AFCON takes place in the same summer, and the Gold Cup in CONCACAF had place that summer. I'm going to die. I am going to die. You'll just be like, there's so much football happening. Ugh. So much. So that is what is sitting. That is what is at stake today. We're gonna get. I'm actually gonna see if I can just do a full screen here and have it shared there. That might actually, if they give me the opportunity to do that, I'll do that and have both games going. One, and then I'll be watching both games and the other giving commentary on both sides. Most definitely. So let's see if we can actually do that. Should have tested that first out, but that's where we sit. If you haven't already, touch up that like button, show some support, help with visibility, but then also subscribe if you like this type of content. I do primarily here on the Shape of Football, we do primarily Canadian and African football. And so if this is some content that you're interested in, subscribe. Turn on notifications to know where I'm here. If you don't like it, do the opposite. Subscribe so you know when I'm on. So you can be like, he's on. Avoid him. I will take it. I will take that one way or another. And so we sit there. Actually, what I should have done here, as we're about 10 minutes away, let me throw up the lineups for you so you know who is starting where, who is doing what in both matchups here. So let's first start off with Burkina Faso versus South Africa. In that game, the lineups are out. And again, I do apologize if I butcher anyone's name. If you are family, friends, supporters, I'm sorry. I apologize if I get anything wrong here. I really am. So, South Africa versus Burkina Faso. Here are the lineups that are given a courtesy of Soccer Way. So, for South Africa, you have up top Ludwig and then got Lana up top. Mutlahalo in the middle of what looks like a 4-3-3, but it's really a 4-1-2-1-2. In the middle, you have Magaya and then Sasane. Jane or Jane, and on top of Mbane and Lam Lamini as your center backs, and then Maponya and then Magama as your fullbacks for South Africa. Playing according to Soccer Way, a 4-1-2-1-2, checking the mics all the time for Burkina Faso. Up top, you have Nana, Congo, and then good old Sabadogo. That is your attacking line. In the middle, you have Sabadogo as well. Sabadogo, the sister. Apology for the ads on the sides there, guys. Uh, Uwaba and then Cabre. Your fullbacks are So and then Sam. And then your center backs are Rwamba and Belem with Dabilgu as your goalkeeper. That is your lineup for South Africa versus Burkina Faso. And again, if I butchered names, I do apologize. When it comes to Tanzania versus Cote d'Ivoire, Cote d'Ivoire, you have Diakite in goal, Yapo, Diakite in the middle, and Gebi. They're playing a 3-4-1-2, so more of a 3-5-2. In the middle, you have Kouassi and Fofana as your wingbacks, and then Seri and Amani as your central midfielders. Your attacking midfield on top is Udra, who's sitting there with Conan and Elo as your attacking strikers against a 3-5-2 from Tanzania with Idrissa in the goal with Maseke, Mwama, and then Singano as your back line of center backs. Your wing backs are Minja and Luyamila. Your midfield trio is Maseme, Shenye, and then Katzuni. Up top is Clemente, and then Manuka. That is Tanzania's lineup for them. That is where it sits. And again, wins from all either side pretty much give them a good spot moving forward. It only gets complicated if you have a win in one game and then a draw in the next because head to head will matter. And again, to remind you of what the head to heads are, it's basically the ranking of the group. So Cote d'Ivoire have the head to head as they defeated Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso have the head to head over Tanzania as they defeated them. And Tanzania have the head to head over South Africa. So, simply put, if one is drawn with two, one goes up. If two is drawn with three, two goes up. If three is drawn with four, four goes up. Excuse me. And so, as teams, they want to avoid those types of being drawn on because, as you can see, Burkina Faso and Tanzania have a better goal difference, but because head to head is the first tiebreak, Tanzania sit in third, and so they'd have to buy. They would need a loss from South Africa, a loss from Burkina Faso, but Tanzania would need a minimum a draw. So if that's South Africa, Burkina Faso is South Africa by a million. Tanzania know a draw gets them across the line because the head to head will always favor the team who won. So Tanzania has the very crucial head to head over South Africa. That's what we'll wait on, and we'll see as we're getting closer, about 8 minutes away from the ball being kicked. And I, for one, cannot wait for dual screen action for myself. And you'll a lot of me talking. But I hope you enjoy it. And leave your comments again. If you haven't already, drop your predictions. How do you think this group will end up? Who are you selecting as the representatives from Group B? And do you think they have a chance to make the World Cup? Let me know in the comments below as we go. I see about 20 of you here. We've been fluctuating between about 20 and 30 folks here this whole time. So if you haven't already, touch up that like button, subscribe, all the fun things, and we will see how the games will sort themselves out. Indeed. Yeah, UEFA Champions League going on. US, how is that a three? Well, Zagreb. Well done, well done. Okay, let's get to those. Let's get to the women. We're here for the women. All righty. Burkina Faso versus South Africa. That is set. Okay, overview set here. And of course, my second stream wants to give me all the problems right now. All right, so that one is set here. So South Africa, Burkina Faso. You see that here on the screen. Good times will be had there. So we'll be keeping you abreast of all the games that are happening. So let me adjust this here. Burkina Faso 0. So we have that one there. Then, and then actually, if we do this here, then we'll have quote d'Ivoire 0, Tanzania 0. Alrighty. So give you updates on what the scores are as we move, as we groove, as we see things through and through. Let me take this moment here to get the games both up on my end. And let's get it going. Alrighty. VPN switching on. This is very exciting for you guys, I know. Um, but we'll throw it up. We'll have that going there. Wonderful, wonderful. Swap you here. And this is very exciting hearing me talking my way through things. But both games are live on the YouTube channel. So there we sit. There we sit. Looks like Dean's going to get going with the South Africa game. Yeah, so Dean Amney, who does primarily Algeria content. Good lad, that. He's there. We got the anthems going on. So let me move you over. Uh, ah, all right. Interesting. Now my monitor's not doing it. So we're going to throw this up here, keep you abreast of what's happening. I'm going to minimize a few things, get the game going here, and let you go what's going on as we have this anthem going on for Tanzania Cote d'Ivoire. So that game, I'm going to have talking here. So they have done the anthems there. Good for them. And then the next game we'll go through. This is going to be real fun. Let me actually try to fix a few things for myself here as we get ready, guys. As we get ready. Yes, I'm glad Sego that you're here. Like I'm glad you're here because to me, what this is your take on the team? They should just come home and rebuild. You don't like their chances if they make it out of this group to go and place Morocco in Morocco. They've beat them before. I granted 4 years ago, and so is it a? It's a tough ask, no doubt about it, but it's not impossible. But again, drop into Tanzania, I would say that's where the whole campaign goes awry because not only do you drop points, but you drop a spot because they're always going to be ahead of you if you're equal. And so they need Tanzania to lose for them to have an opportunity to move forward. And that's where it'll be difficult for them. But what has disappointed you the most? Is it just yeah, let me ask you that. What has disappointed you the most? Has it just been how they've played? Is it just a lack of goals? Is it relying on the same players for too long? Like, been your disappointments so far when it comes to that side? As we sit here, we got 17 windows open here. I'm living a life that I choose here. But all right. So Ludwig looks like she's going to be starting in the middle of this four. It's a 4-4-2 diamond, is really what it is. It's not a 4-1-2-1-2, but it is a 4-2-1-2 with Ludwig up top. As we have going already, so Burkina Faso and South Africa is underway. And then Tanzania and uh, Cote d'Ivoire are going as well. So actually, what I'll do instead of doing it all on one, let me actually use my phone properly here. As we get the ball going, the ball rolling, and the action is here. South Africa, no, a win, and then they have to hope. That's what South Africa have going on for them. But now, it's just you need a win, and then from there they have to hope. South Africa in the yellow tops and the green shorts. Burkina Faso with probably one of my favorite kits, the Burkina Faso flag kit going off with a star across the chest, shoulder to chest. I love that look. I love a good V. As South Africa puts the ball in to play. I'm going to actually limit you here. And they try to get the ball going, but then a wayward pass goes. They try to play it out. Can something good come from this? Can something good come from this? We'll have to wait and see as it loads and goes. And now with the ball. South Africa again we're on this game because South Africa need a win first of all, and then they need Tanzania to fall to Cote d'Ivoire. And so that'll be the first thing. We will be switching between both. And so we'll be here. And as every moment, I'll let you know what's going on. As an early shot from South Africa goes wide, and it's a goal kick coming for the Burkina Faso contingent. Still 0-0 in that game. And that is really the fun as it stands. But Cote d'Ivoire still 0-0 is the score. They stand with also Burkina Faso sitting there as well. So still 0-0 in both games. Once we have a goal in one of the games, we're going to jump over there. Burkina Faso a draw and a draw in the next game. They are going through. So a win gets the job done, but more importantly, a draw also gives them a good chance to move on because South Africa cannot move on with a draw. And we thank you guys as we reach 14:20. You sit here waiting for as a deep throwing come from Burkina Faso as we sit there. This is going to be the most ADHD watch as we go on. But again, still 0-0 in the Cote d'Ivoire Tanzania game matchup that is there. And so Dean has got his 2K sitting there. Good for him. Or let me go for calf here. Let's see what they're able to do. Kosovo's draw. Cool. We don't care about that right now. We're here for the games. As South Africa wins the ball back, starting to build with some passing. Good triangle pass going through. Let's see if they go through. Burkina Faso are sitting back again. A draw they know moves them up if everything stays in the draw. So a draw moves them up, and they will feel good about this. But now they need more, as you know. They need more. A goal, a win certainly makes it much more solidified for them. So as we sit here wondering, wait, what uploader? What uploader? Ah. Ah. Here, I thought I turned it on. It wasn't on. So again, score is nil-nil in both games. Scores nil-nil in both games as of this point. South Africa doing well to get some possession, but nothing to show for it. Just the one missed shot that came early. And we'll see what else can come from their other probing. But again, South Africa need a win and a Tanzania loss to move on. Burkina Faso just need a draw and they have a chance to move on if all the games end in a draw. A Tanzania win over Cote d'Ivoire will drop Burkina Faso out of the competition. So a draw is safe, but doesn't qualify and doesn't get everything done for them. And those are the key things to keep in mind. So let me actually jump over here to let you know what's going on. Another missed shot from South Africa. And goal kick up from Burkina Faso. Good testing. Now, that shot should have been on frame. That should have been on target as Ludwig passed the ball out. She tries to get it on and off. Skies it over. You've got to do much better. Easily claimed. Easily dealt with for certain. But again, still nil-nil in the Cote d'Ivoire Tanzania matchup, as we have Tanzania in their blue kits facing a Cote d'Ivoire in their orange kits. I love a good color clash. So give me a good color clash, and I am here for it. So that game is also nil-nil as they try to go over the top, over the goalkeeper, but it just, Magna tries to go over, but it just falls too deep. And now Burkina Faso with the set piece to get going. Free kick moving forward. The free kick sitting and moving forward. But still nil-nil in both games as we sit here. Again, I'll flash it up here so you know what's going on. Still nil-nil in both games. As Burkina Faso did have a set piece coming up, but they weren't able to truly take advantage of it. And as a result, ball goes back to South Africa in possession as we go on. Reminder again. I'm going to keep on hearing this from me, but reminder again. South Africa need a win and a Tanzania loss for them to move on. Anything less than that, if it's a Tanzania draw, they can't go on because of head to head. Cote d'Ivoire have the head to head over Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso have the head to head over Tanzania. And Tanzania have the head to head over South Africa. And so this is where we sit. This is where we're looking. These are the opportunities. Oh, this makes so much more sense now. And so that's where we sit currently as South Africa with the ball trying to build up. A goal really in any of these games opens things up. Both games happening simultaneously makes it interesting, but a goal really opens up both pathways on both sides as we go, as we have South Africa trying to build up, trying to find something that they can use. A goal really is where a South Africa goal is really where this gets going. All right, once a South Africa goal gets going, then it just becomes a conversation of can Cote d'Ivoire get something? But realistically, that's the other side. The real question, the real set is if Cote d'Ivoire score. Because once Cote d'Ivoire scores a goal, now anything South Africa does or doesn't do has more weight. If the game ends in a draw, nothing South Africa can win the game 13-0. It doesn't matter. And for those of you wondering where I'm from, I'm Canadian, Ghanaian. So I have no horse in this race other than I wonder who could qualify from Africa. That's all I got. Here we come with South Africa now, dribbling down the left side, but too far deep. And ball goes back to Burkina Faso. So we sit here. So that's truly, as we said earlier, it really does come down to this game here. Right? This game here that's flashing on the screen here, Cote d'Ivoire, Tanzania, a goal either side opens up the possibilities because now, as I said earlier, It allows for anything that South Africa does to have more weight and merit. And quite frankly, I would love to have a South Africa Morocco matchup in the quarterfinals, not because I don't want a team to have an easy route to the World Cup. I want them to have to qualify for it. And for Morocco, I think that would be their best test that they'd have so far. If they get past that, I think they'd be fine until the semifinals for sure. But that is where we're watching as ball easily claimed here by South Africa. I mean, sorry, by Burkina Faso. And they go direct with the goal kick. Okay, we're going to let this load up a wee bit. We're going to let this load up a wee bit. Actually, we're going to adjust more than just one thing here. So still 0-0 in both games. Still 0-0 in both games. Waiting to see if something can happen in either of the games that'll really open up the possibilities. As you have South Africa with an opportunity, but again, a miscontrol. Now we have Burkina Faso trying to come on the break, but easily dealt with, easily defended well, but nearly lost in the middle. This my choppy stream, and Burkina Faso making their way through. But that could have been dangerous. That could have been very dangerous for a South Africa side that have to commit players forward, nearly beat in the transition there. And that's something like we mentioned earlier. Transition opportunities have been there for sides this entire tournament. It really just does come down to which sides have been more clinical. South Africa tries to get the ball going through, but it's a free kick going to the Burkina Faso contingent. That could have been very dangerous as we had Bellum, who had a good turn, but she gets the foul there. But Burkina Faso sending some warnings. Hey, we can get the ball deep. We can be dangerous. Is certainly the thought that was sent there. But still 0-0 in both games. As we have a free kick coming up for South Africa. Can they do something with this? They need a goal, but then ultimately the group doesn't open up until something happens in the Burkina Faso. I'm sorry, in the Cote d'Ivoire Tanzania game. And so this is where we sit here, currently one goal away from this group becoming very live, as we have a dangerous free kick coming for the South Africans. Can they convert on it? Can they convert on their opportunity? Who's standing over it here? Can they just get it on target? Get it on target is all I'm going to say. We've seen questionable goalkeeping this entire tournament, as she's setting up her wall here. Get it on target, and from there, we'll see what happens. All right, South Africa. Let's see what we got. All right, South Africa. All right, Johnny standing over it. Can she do something with it? Right to the wall. Deflected away. Try to pass it back in. Tries to cross, doesn't get to it. Throwing coming for Burkina Faso. So another opportunity wasted, and this has been South Africa's tournament. Opportunities come, nothing to show for it. Nothing to show for it. They have nothing to show for this tournament because they waste their opportunities there. So that's where we are in that game. Still 0-0. Cote d'Ivoire versus Tanzania. Let's do a check-in of that game here. AI. Let's swap it over there because again, this is the group where if anything happens in this group, that's where we'll get some action. That's the group again. Repeating again, the group changes once this game finds some opportunities. We have a throw in coming in for Cote d'Ivoire here. So Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, which is again that's on the screen. Remind you again, it's still 0-0 for South Africa, Burkina Faso. No goals yet, so nothing really to talk about. Any drama in it. As it currently stands, you'd have Cote d'Ivoire moving on in their group. And then Burkina Faso due to that, as we have Cote d'Ivoire putting the ball into a dangerous spot. Can they do something with this? But now they earn the game's first corner for them. So Cote d'Ivoire now on a corner. Now a goal going up on Tanzania opens up that next group. And again, a goal anywhere. Give me something. Give me something, please, I beg. You see this. That's Cote d'Ivoire now. With the corner, it's headed away. Can they get the second ball? Can they get a second shot off here in this space? Can they do something with this? Still played? Nothing? Anything? Something? Ah. Cote d'Ivoire, if you ah! I cannot with them. I cannot with them. The free kick is I want something to happen. If I have to sit through 2 more hours of lifeless results, I will be disappointed beyond belief. Okay? Beyond belief, I'll be disappointed. Cote d'Ivoire off of a set piece have the opportunity to go up, but can't convert. They can see the free kick, and now Tanzania going the other way. Tanzania need a goal. Cote d'Ivoire again should be the favorites there, but they need a goal. There's a lot of goals that are needed for certain in this game. But as we wait here, as we have Tanzania moving the ball up, a draw for Tanzania just keeps them ahead of South Africa. That's all it does. It just keeps them ahead of South Africa. So we'll throw that there. Waited. We were running on a timer, but nothing much to show for. And so let's see if we are able to get a wee bit more in terms of opportunities. Still 0-0 in both games. Again, once a goal is scored, this group becomes alive because now the possibilities start to mathematicize themselves. But until then, we wait and we hope. We wait and we hope. That's all we have. We wait and we hope. Also, Haiti up 1-0 on CRC in the way. So they could qualify on a U20 tip, which would be something. Ah, oh my. So you sit there still again. Cote d'Ivoire with some pressure. Can we do something with this? Nothing in the buildup yet. Okay, cool. Burkina Faso, South Africa. Cool. Cool. As we have South Africa in the Burkina Faso South Africa game, we have them setting up for another set piece. South Africa needs a goal just for any type, just to have a heartbeat, just something. So here we have South Africa standing over a corner. They put the ball in, headed over and across. Can't get it on frame. Ludwig can't get the ball on frame. They're knocking, but as has been their tournament so far, nothing to show for it. They knock it across. Ludwig looks like she gets to it first, heads it, and just glances by the far post. Can't reach it in. Definitely an opportunity for them, but nothing to show for it there. So still 0-0 in that matchup. Tanzania need a win. They need a win. A draw and a win gets them through. Nothing more, nothing less. Because Burkina Faso are still at 4 points as it stands. And so with 4 points where they stand, that's what they're sitting at. And let me actually see if I can. Hey. South Africa. South Africa. What a cross. Not dealt with. Put in the back of the net. Banyana are alive. They are alive, which means now the group is alive, ladies and gentlemen. The group is alive. South Africa. Banyana. Okay. Okay. So now the group is alive. And what this means is it doesn't clear them because, again, I could show you one, but this would be wrong because head to head it's still on the side of the Tanzanians. However, South Africa are doing their parts now. So I'll show you this really quickly just to give you some context, but I'll actually correct it here because it is currently wrong. So, as of now, with South Africa scoring just now, Cote d'Ivoire are in first. South Africa are not in second. They are in third because of head to head. The only thing now, South Africa have done their part. They now need Cote d'Ivoire to go up 1-0. Because as long as South Africa and Tanzania are level on points, it is still going to be Tanzania going due to the head to head difference. So South Africa have done their part. They get to 4 points. They need Cote d'Ivoire to go up on Tanzania for them to be sitting in the second place spot. So we jump over to that matchup as we sit there. We jump over to that matchup. So 1-0 South Africa. They need Cote d'Ivoire to score because finally, finally, this group is alive. Anything less. Anything less. Now, South Africa can score 13 goals if they want to, and they can crush Burkina Faso hearts if they want to. As long as Cote d'Ivoire versus Tanzania ends 0-0 or ends in a draw, they can't pass Tanzania. So they need the Ivorians to truly come in and get a goal for them. Because without that, that is where they sit. So South Africa up. South African. Why did I write South African? Apologies. South Africa. So South Africa up 1-0. They've done their part. Now they wait to see if Cote d'Ivoire can go up on Tanzania by anything to give them chance, to give them hope, to give them anything to move on. That is what they're waiting for. And if they can do that, a goal there opens up the pitch, opens the possibilities now for South Africa to move on. Only in second place. They can't get to first. There's no way they can get to first. So South Africa up. Let's switch over back to the Cote d'Ivoire Tanzania matchup with Cote d'Ivoire probing, looking, searching, but still not arriving at a goal as of yet. Still not arriving at a goal as of yet. But again, Burkina Faso could answer and reply. And so South Africa are not out of the woods yet. For South Africa, you need at least a 2-goal margin to be safe. You certainly need that type of a margin. As I'm peeking back at the South Africa game, a long shot sent wide and deflected and just not well hit. Goal kick coming for Burkina Faso. And let's switch back here to this Cote d'Ivoire Tanzania game. But Cote d'Ivoire, again, great in getting the ball deep, but final third actions are what's missing for this side. Final third actions are what's missing for this side. And so we sit here wondering. Again, I will repeat it again. South Africa have now done their part. There is nothing more they can do. The best they can do is hope for Cote d'Ivoire to go up on Tanzania, and then that's what puts them in the second place, which means we could potentially, not for sure, but potentially see Morocco versus South Africa for a chance to qualify for the World Cup. But you need Cote d'Ivoire to do their part. And right now, it's still a draw. Right now, it is still a draw for where it is sitting. And we're going to look at is we're going to give a foul for this opportunity here. No foul given. So we sit there and we go. So there we go with the Ivorians looking to try to get something going here. Again, reminder: I'm Ghanaian Canadian, so I have no horse in this race. What I do have is I have a horse for chaos, and I would like some chaos, please. The Ivorians went from not qualifying, eliminating the final round qualification, then with CAF going from 16 to 12 to 16 teams, given a second life. And what a story that would be for them. Them and Cameroon, and possibly Mali. Three sides who did not qualify, but then could qualify for the World Cup. Let's see if Cote d'Ivoire can do anything to get the ball into a good, dangerous spot. Can it be tapped in? Can you put it through? A wasted chance. Wasted chance. The South Africans have done what they must, and now you're just not giving them anything else. We have Tanzania going direct, going back in arc. Let's see if they can do something with this. Anything. Anything. Nothing. Nothing at all. Everything, nothing, and nothing at all. Cote d'Ivoire have had chances. Let's be very clear. They've had opportunities, but wasteful. Wasteful. Now we got another set piece coming for the Ivorians. Let's see if they can create something off of this. Maybe this is where they find a breakthrough. A breakthrough for them is an encouragement now for the next side, because then that opens the door for them. And that's the South Africans to move into the second place spot. Ooh, woof, woof, woof. Let's see if they can do something here. Set piece number 2, corner number 2. Let's see if we can get something. Something good coming from this. All right, so the Ivorians standing over it, gets it in a nice central ball, headed a little bit off, but not fully out. Can we get a shot on goal? Can we get a shot on goal here? Dispossessed. Dispossessed. É nosso. Uncriable. Cote d'Ivoire. They don't care for South African youths. Ah, they don't care for South African youths at all. And so we sit here and we wonder. South Africa have done what they need to do, at least have opened the door. As we see the shot, they try to go near post and just goes near security man. Ivorians, just roll the ball on the carpet. You have chances there. You have chances there. As the Ivorians turn the ball, they turn 10 words. Ivorians in the middle. They get the ball inside. There's some space, but a bad touch. But back in possession comes Cote d'Ivoire. They're back in the attacking half. Can they create something? They go down the line. Is it too much? Not too much pace on it. There's a runner coming, but no, she just makes herself available on the side, puts the ball out. She goes inside. She has the inside track given again. And another corner. Set piece number 3. Can we get the ball into a dangerous space? Can we? Can we get a goal here? So here comes the Ivorians. Can we do something here? Can they? I want this. I want some chaos in this group. That's all I want. Anything coming? Anything coming? Okay, so set piece comes. Excuse me. Set piece opportunities and just a wayward shot off the set piece. Hey, and now Tanzania slowly building up, and we'll see what they can do there. So still 1-0 South Africa over Burkina Faso, and then 0-0 in this Cote d'Ivoire Tanzania matchup. Again, for the South Africa win only means as much as this result here. And so only that can give them anything here. For South Africa to come through, they need a Tanzania loss. They could win their game 17-0, but the head to head puts Tanzania over them. So their first game loss is really what's going to set them back. But we'll see if something can go through as we're looking at the South Africa game, as we're seeing South Africa go through the middle. Tries to send in a cross, gets it over. Can South Africa get to it? Oh, if that had happened in real time, this would have been much more exciting for me. But a foul now given. As Little tries to get to the ball, but the keeper gets to it. Protect the keeper. And now Burkina Faso sitting there. If the results stand as they do, Tanzania and South Africa. No, sorry. Tanzania and Cote d'Ivoire would move on. If the results stay as they currently do, because Burkina Faso will be dropped with their 3 points. Tanzania is on 4 currently, but they have to head to head over South Africa, and Cote d'Ivoire are on 5. So it'd be 5-4-4-3 would be how it would go. And so that is what is at stake here. Cote d'Ivoire are not doing South Africa any favors, but I mean, when's the last time a South African's done a favor for a West African? I digress. As you have the Ivorians breaking down the left side, and a free kick given to them. So still, oh, she drives the line, tries to go wide, but easily cleared by the defender. Not for lack of trying. The Ivorians are creating chances and opportunities. They are just not executing them in the final third. So I don't want to just say Ivorians are playing poorly, but unless your name is Morocco or Malawi, goals are hard to come by in this tournament. Goals are just very hard to come by. As the Ivorians try to build up again to see if they can get something going, but still nothing. Still nothing to show. Cody Ball going on the right side. Can we send something in? A high delivery headed downwards and dealt with by the keeper. Headed right to her. She gets in position and she gets it right in her lap. Good save. Good positioning, if anything. Good positioning, if anything. Let's see if Tanzania can create something coming on the other side. Tanzania need a goal to really cement their spot. The Ivorians are safe pretty much one way or the other. Now, if the Ivorians draw, are on 4 and South Africa are on 4, and then it becomes a battle of goal difference. And that's where South Africa could possibly go through. So for Banyaya, you need to score goals like you need gifts. In the event that Tanzania set the upset. But as we stand right now, the scores are still 1-0 South Africa over Burkina Faso. And then Tanzania and Cote d'Ivoire are still 0-0. If it goes as it stands, It's Cote d'Ivoire and Tanzania moving on. That is where we stand. The Ivorians are feeling good, but like if you're Ivorian supporting Cote d'Ivoire, this is not a bad half for you. It's not a bad half for you. I think the problem is you feel like you deserve a goal for the game that you've played so far, and the problem with that is, well, you got to score it. You don't. You're not given things. You got to earn it. So the goal is what they're missing. The goal is what they're missing to show their good work. And so we'll see if they can find that goal that'll reward all the chances they've created. But as of now, nothing to show for. But South Africa have done their part to get into the conversation. Now let's see how the conversation progresses. No, no, I don't need a break. And so Cote d'Ivoire still drawn with uh, Tanzania. Still about we're about 37 minutes into both games. In the 38th minute of about both games, and only one goal scored so far. So get ready for a second half that's certainly going to change a lot, have a high volume, have a high different decibel, most certainly. So we sit here as we have Tanzania slowly progressing the ball further up the pitch. Can they do something with that opportunity? So we'll see as Tanzania now with the ball looking to create something. As we check into the South Africa, check into the South Africa Burkina Faso game, got a midfield a free kick, nothing too dangerous. As Cote d'Ivoire again with an opportunity, can they put away a goal here finally? And another corner coming, another corner. Cote d'Ivoire, they've done everything but score a goal. So is this the opportunity where they actually put the goal away and we can come through? We'll have to wait and see here. Alrighty, let's take a look at this sequence here. As we have Cote d'Ivoire putting the ball up. And easily dealt with. Not the best usage, but again, another opportunity squandered by them. Really. All right, still nothing going on in the South Africa uh Burkina Faso matchup. Still waiting for something to come through, but again, we'll go from there. So it's 1-0 South Africa over Burkina Faso. That's on the scroll text. We got the Cote d'Ivoire Tanzania matchup here with a throw in coming for Cote d'Ivoire here. Can they create an opportunity? Oh, oh, I'm sorry, guys. It really does mess up with it. So, hey, hey, I am sorry that I have messed this the Zoom for you. Cote d'Ivoire do something with this? Could we get a shot near or far or wherever you are? And Tanzania just yeah. Cote d'Ivoire just it's not even Tanzania defending well. They're Cote d'Ivoire are just not crisp with anything right now. And so, do you give credit for a team who can't put the right passes together, or do you just say they're defended well? Goals are there to be had. Can't have the ball straight to the keeper. And that's kind of where our situation is. So still, of course, there. So we sit there and we wonder and we wait. Oof. Heavy tackle there in the Cote d'Ivoire Tanzania game. Hoping for a throw, but nothing to show. Tanzania player still down in about the 42nd minute. We'll see what we have for additional time coming up. But still nothing to show for. Mm-hmm. Paulo, where are you coming from today? Where are you watching from? And who are you rooting for? You got Burkina Faso shares on you. You hoping for a win for South Africa. You hoping that Tanzania pull off probably the most surprising result. You think that a Cote d'Ivoire continues and tops the group from not qualifying there. Who are you rooting for here? I'm curious to know. Because the thing with this game is this, right? If because if I jump back into the standings, right? So what South Africa should do here is South Africa should score as many goals as possible. Not to say that like just oh 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 we're looking at this goal, but oh this could be this could be the moment. This could be oh watch it oh go. Okay, what would they be looking for VR? Okay, gets the ball, crosses in, not offsides, still not offsides, unless they're calling for a handball. Gets the rebound. Cote d'Ivoire should be up 1 now. Cote d'Ivoire, this should be a good goal. Good goal. Which means this should go. And if that's the case, this means that South Africa, oh, Cote d'Ivoire, giving me a good half. Finally, you finished the chance. It's about time. What this means is now with Cote d'Ivoire going up, this pushes Tanzania down. And that puts South Africa into fourth, second place. And now they are properly slotted. And to show you this now, as it stands, the live standings currently, you have Cote d'Ivoire with 7, South Africa with South Africa now with 4 points, but because they are on top with 3, South Africa, you need to pile goals, and you better hope the Ivorians pile goals here because this they've done the thing. They are now at this moment 2 minutes before the teams go into the break. South Africa see the Atlas Lionesses and say, if this holds, we'll see you in Casablanca. But we have 45 to go. But thank you, someone, for making this more enjoyable affair. Goodness me. Currently, this is standings for Group B. Group B. Oh, what a time. 2 minutes of additional time, the South African Burkina Faso matchup. We're going to throw that here onto the screen. But as we can see, it's goals and goals. So, as it stands, South Africa, the teams with one goal as it stands, are headed to the quarterfinals. Tanzania need a draw to move on as it stands. And Burkina Faso need a draw to move on as it stands. And so currently, as it stands, Cote d'Ivoire with 7, South Africa with 4, Burkina Faso with 3, Tanzania with 3. And with that being the case, those are your teams going through. As you see the stats for this South Africa Burkina Faso matchups going across the stream. So if things stay as they are, it will be Cote d'Ivoire, Algeria, and then Morocco, South Africa. And I, for one, would be fine with that as a quarterfinal matchup. Those are tasty matchups. Both sides, I think Morocco is the only side out of those four. If it stays the same way, Morocco will be the only side I would say, yeah, I like our chances. Oh, we are there. We are there. Halftime in the Cote d'Ivoire matchup. So Tanzania, they're finally giving me something. So 1-0 in each game. We're gonna be back for the second half. My goodness, chances galore, chances missed, but finally, South Africa first doing their part, but then Cote d'Ivoire lending the South Africans a favor, a small favor, to put them in a position where they could get through. You guys, if you haven't already, touch up that like button. Make sure you subscribe. We're at 12. We're at 1423. Let's get to 1500 by the end of the stream. Yeah, that's right. We can do it. We can do it. We're going to be here for all the Wafcon games as much as possible, as long as the schedule allows it. Also covering the CONCACAF U20s, just letting you know that Costa Rica are still down to 8 last I checked. For those of you who are here, and the people who come through, this has been seen so long, by almost 5K. Guys, thank you so much for spending just a little time with me. I do appreciate it. Just a little time with me. I appreciate it. But as it stands, South Africa did their part first, and then Cote d'Ivoire leaned and said, "Well, we'll do you a favor here. Let me go through the stats for first the Cote d'Ivoire Tanzania game. Expected goals is about 0.64 to that. Possession is 54-46. Makes sense. 7 shots to 1, 4 shots on target, which to me is the story. 3 saves. That corner kicks, I would love to see Cote d'Ivoire. If you're going to get 5 corner kicks, 4 set pieces, you want to be much more clinical, a little bit better at converting those chances. Passes 80% to 73. Yellow card, here's the one for Tanzania. Expected goals on target, 1.28 to that. Yes, they should have at least 2 goals in this game, I would say. You can't head it straight to the keeper, whatever. We move on. 3 shots off target, 5 shots inside the box, 2 outside the box. Just a great turn. Corner kicks overall. Love what you see it. Just a great turn overall for players of the half so far. Let me get sorry about the betting stuff, guys. But Uedra gets Uedraogo gets the goal, and she's on the She's had chance after chance this half, and finally see her put one away. It's good on her side. This is what she's done this half in playmaking: 3 out of 7 passes into the box, 6 out of 9 passes in the final third, 2 out of 7 crosses, progression 8 out of 13 accurate passes, 1 out of 2 in the final third, 4 out of 9 progressive passes and attacking, 4 total shots, expected goals 0.4, on target 9.4, shots on target, shots off target, shots inside the box, shots outside the box. She's had chance after chance after chance, and she's finally puts it off. So the Ivorians sit there up 1-0. And when we switch it for South Africa versus the South Africa matchup, look, players so far of the half, Lana gets the goal for South Africa early in the half, looking good. Ludwig has had some opportunities as well. With Lalo, I think hasn't been too bad for what I've seen of the game, but again, I've been jumping back and forth, so apologies if I don't have as much of a perfect breakdown for you. But let's take a look at these stats here. Expected goals about 0.86 to 0.11, 60-40 possession. If you're South Africa, you got to tilt this pitch more. Do everything you can. Leave no doubt there. Shots on target, 1. Big chances, 1. And that's the goal that's scored. 1 corners, 77% passing on 69. That's fine. Goals, 7 gone on target, 5 off target. And for Banyana, that's been their tournament. Targets awry. Shots awry. Chances that are possible, but just not quite hitting. No posts, 1 big chance. You have your goal, 2 to 1 corners. You've seen that 1 offsides, 9 free kicks each. Long passes have been decent, better for South Africa. Final third passing has been much more poor for South Africa, and you'd like to see that improve. Crosses 1 out of 9 versus 0 out of 7. That's where the issue is, I find. And so throwing that up there again. Mabilgu, goalkeepers, worst rated player for Burkina Faso. The worst rated South African player is. It really is Ludwig? I thought she was better than that, but that's a choice. Oh, her duels have been poor. Well, that'll do it for you. That's where it is. That'll do it for you. Your duels, accurate passes have been poor. Yeah, if your duels are that bad, yeesh, that's gonna hurt. Ground duels 1, aerial duels, better at aerial duels. Yeah, she had the 1 header. 6 fouls. Yeah, she's that might just be the you know what, Ludwig? I thought you were better than that, but it might be time to park the bus for you. So, as it currently stands, this is the standings in Group B, which means if this stays, you'd have Cote d'Ivoire playing Algeria in the quarterfinals, and then a rematch of the 2022 Women's Afcon, which would have South Africa versus Morocco. And I think that's good value for your dollar there. I think that'd be very good. That'd be very good. So that's what sits there. We'll have to wait and see as the second half comes in. But South Africa have done what they have to do. Ivorians have obliged. But 45 minutes, there's definitely going to be drama and goals coming. So if you haven't already, touch up the like button, subscribe, all the fun things, and we'll be there. But I think I needed things to happen, and this is going to be a fun one to group. Tomorrow, everything really comes down. You see Group C, it's that the matchup of 1 and 2. Because this is wrong as well, because it's not by goal difference. The first tiebreaker is head to head. And so if South Africa have the same points as Tanzania passed them because of head to head. If the Ivorians have the same points as the Burkina Fasoans, Ivory Coast goes through because they have the head to head. And if Burkina Faso have the same points as Tanzania move ahead because the head to head. So we are here. Things are happening. I appreciate everyone who's spent, if you've just a minute or who've been here the whole time. I appreciate you all. We have 45 minutes left in Group B to really show what's going to happen here. So, 45 minutes. Make sure you drop your predictions if you haven't already. Even if you just don't be silent. It's more fun when people are here. It's more fun when people are here. Sego Day was here for a minute. Ramadan was there for a little bit. Or Ramad, sorry. Hani. Ramad Hani. My ball. And then Paulo spent some time as well. So it's more fun when we interact, guys. But this is where we currently sit. I'm going to grab some lubrication for the throat, aka water, and I shall return shortly. But we are certainly looking forward to how this second half goes. This is the groups as they stand. Anything changes, we'll change this as well. We'll keep you updated with it. But enjoy your halftime break. We will be back in a moment. Moments away. We're getting the second half underway. And again, as the score sits, we have Cote d'Ivoire up on Burkina. No. Cote d'Ivoire on up on Tanzania by the score of 1-0. And South Africa up by the score of 1-0 over Burkina Faso. And a reminder, if these results stay the same, they go through as they currently sit. And so much dramatic finishes are heading as Burkina Faso and South Africa are back underway in the second half as Tanzania and Cote d'Ivoire are getting ready to get back onto the pitch, at least on my stream. And so we'll see what comes up. Goals are happening. A goal by any team that's down changes the entire equation of this group. And so it's certainly something we're going to be keeping an eye on all the way through because right now teams are going to be looking for. Oh my! What did I just sit back down to? This game isn't even on. What's going on? What is going on? Let me get to this game. What's going on? Burkina Faso go deep. They go up. Ball comes in the middle. No attempt on the. That's a penalty. South Africa. South Africa, what are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, this is going to be looked at. But South Africa apparently don't believe in receiving help. They must do it themselves. South Africa, you just ran through the player. Are you trying to make this more difficult for you? Burkina Faso go direct. The ball is missed. It's a clear foul unless the player calling a dive. South Africa, baby, what is you doing? You didn't have to do it. South Africa, baby, what is you doing? She's going to VAR. We're coming back here. No penalty called. They got the foot. There was a deflection. They saved themselves from calamity. Oh, Naomi Adele is like, I was hit. It's like, no, but she got the has little of a deflection. Hey, it's not rigged. She got the ball first. It's a it's a it's a soft touch. Hey, hey, hey. That's all I can say. Hey, this is something. Hey, South Africa by the whisker of a tip are able to get away with this. By the whisker of a touch, they avoid giving up the PK. Unbelievable. So South Africa escaped the penalty thanks to VAR. I'm sure Burkina Faso and folks will look and say this is all rigged against them. Unbelievable. And so now still 1-0 in both games. Still 1-0 in each game, but my goodness. My African group chat is now going. Hey, hey, just the whole sequence was something. But Burkina Faso have said they have sent a warning shot. As Burkina Faso have to come up now because if the game ends as it is, they are out. South Africa can sit back if they'd like to, but I think they can take more air out of this game by passing the ball through, trying to find opportunities. Drogo with a miss. Ah, opportunities. I'm watching this game and this opportunities. This game is something. I'm just not emotionally ready for it to end. But so far, guys, thank you so much. If you've touched the like button, if you've subscribed anywhere, Burkina Faso now trying to know that they need an equalizer just to stay alive. An equalizer pushes them back up, and so that leaves them in a good spot for themselves. But still 1-0 in both games. 1-0 in both games is still where we sit. It's going to keep on going there. So if you haven't already, touch the like button, subscribe, all the fun things. All right, Tanzania looks like they just got their first shot on frame. Not their first shot in this half of the game so far. But this, my, I'm still not fully recovered from that early penalty. I'm telling you, I'm not fully recovered from it. But we sit there, and we look and we wait. Whew. I need to contain myself. My, oh my, oh my. Okay. Burkina Faso are definitely trying to, hey, they're starting to knock more because they know a draw puts them back into the group, gets them back moving upwards, and that's what they need. And so, again, both scores, sorry that keeps on going off here, but you have Burkina Faso down 1-0 to South Africa, Cote d'Ivoire up 1-0 on Tanzania. But a draw in this game puts these two teams in the better position as we have South Africa trying to break. Can they get the second? Can we get a second here? Can we get a second here? Not quite here. Still pull ball put out wide. Let's see if they can create something out of this. Still not the end. Still not the end. And South Africa still now with the ball in a dangerous position. Can they do something with this? These are the questions we ask. It's been their whole conversations, the entire tournament. As we look over at the Cote d'Ivoire Tanzania matchup, Cote d'Ivoire trying to move the ball down the right wing. They put the ball deflected, and now throw coming still for them as we switch back to South Africa. Burkina Faso, can we get a shot? But a foul is given. Free kick coming in for the Burkina Faso women. They need a goal. They had a shot at a penalty. It was looked at VAR, was rescinded, but a draw puts them back. a draw puts them further back in. And for a South Africa side, just keep on applying pressure, but don't leave yourself too open here because make the mountain insurmountable. Don't make it easy. A one goal lead isn't safe. We know after this World Cup we just watched, a two-goal lead isn't safe. But Tanzania looking like they're trying to find avenues just to build up here without having to just go directly direct. But the Ivorians are taking away space from them as they go, as Burkina Faso are trying to find spaces where they can build up and go. We have a free kick coming now for South Africa. Free kick coming for South Africa. And everything I do affects everything we do. Got you. Apologies for all those switches here with South Africa now on the break. Can we create something here? Not yet. Back into the midfield. Bad pass, bad control, down Burkina Faso, down the line. Apologies for the half screen there, guys. As we sit there, we go and we go and we look and we grow and we grow and we flow. Oh, I'm not here anymore. But still, 1-0 in both sides. As Burkina Faso are issued a yellow card. Let me see who that is by. As you have Tanzania trying to go direct, try to get across them, but it doesn't go through. Oh, everything is my second monitor is that we have Cote d'Ivoire looking to make something out of something. Can we do something? She gets the ball out wide in the box, cuts inside. Good defending. Can she get it back in? Runs around. Nothing. Cote d'Ivoire, do something. Yeah, Rebecca with the ball. She has it, moving it. Gets a player to back up. Tries to cross it in. Not a good cross. Second ball. Nearly dealt with, but not dealt with well. Cote d'Ivoire tried to get to it, shield it, calling for a hand. Are the Ivorians, but the ref doesn't give anything. And now a foul finally given. A foul finally given. Like Kawasi gets the ball in the spot, but instead of going, there's nothing really there. Then now we have a substitution coming for the Tanzania Cote d'Ivoire matchup. Uh, so Abby will. So Mania goes off for Minali coming on. So it's 6 for 22 is a substitution to Tunisia. I mean, sorry, the Tanzania Cote d'Ivoire matchup. Nothing quite there coming up. So let me just swap over to the Burkina Faso. Still 1-0 in that game as well. Ludwig is still in this game. The coach must be seeing something she's liking from that player, but nothing so far showing. So still 1-0 in both sides. Still 1-0 in both games. Again, waiting for a goal will change the entire makeup of this group, and that's where it is. But still a goal on each game, 1-0. As it stands, those with the goals are moving on. If another goal is scored, it might change the dynamic of it as Burkina Faso now earn a dangerous free kick coming to the 60th minute. A little centrally off left, so this could be a dangerous one for certain. Good direct, but headed away on that free kick. Let's see what we can go through. So a nice chance again. Burkina Faso are knocking, but haven't been able to find a breakthrough as of yet. As we're in about the 62nd minute in both games. It's still 1-0 in each matchup. Still there, still there, still there. Like a goal by Burkina Faso moves South Africa back down and moves Burkina Faso into the second place spot. A goal from Tanzania moves them into ahead of South Africa and them into the second place spot. So a goal changes the whole chemistry of this group. We'll have to wait and see as we do have now a free kick in the Ivorian Tanzania matchup with Tanzania now with a chance to maybe change everything as a free kick comes in. It's a wide one. Goalkeeper tries to get out to claim it. Can't quite get to it. It's kicked. Tanzanian players are calling for a hand, but nothing is given. So maybe the ref may take a look at this later. Let's take a look at the ball bounces, tries to claim. It looks like it goes off of a chest. So there's the first hit by the goalie. Goalie. No, that's a chest. That's a chested ball. As the Ivorians get the ball deep, crosses into the middle, and chipped away by defenders. As Tanzania now tries to build up and start going in transition. They elect to go deep, they elect to go long. But too much pace on it. And the Ivorians get the ball right back. And now they look to build and go immediately. But nothing to show for it still. And so, 65th minute, it's still Cote d'Ivoire 1, Tanzania 0, and South Africa 1, Burkina Faso 0. Let me just put this all on a tracker here specifically. Ah, South Africa coming in on transition. Can we do something? And put wide. Goal kick coming for Burkina Faso. South Africa need another goal to be able to breathe a little bit because they're one goal away from disaster. 1-0 means you're one goal away from disaster. 2-0 means you're two goals away from disaster and you exhaled. And so that's what we're seeing at. But right now, showing you again, South Africa up 1-0 over Burkina Faso and Cote d'Ivoire up 1-0 over Tanzania, where we currently sit. Burkina Faso trying to find some opportunities to move the ball up, but nothing quite yet. So again, if it stays the same way, you would have Morocco versus South Africa in one quarterfinals, and then Cote d'Ivoire versus Algeria in another. That's if the results stand. One goal could change everything. As Isabella Ludwig leaves the game for South Africa, I have that game here, and then Mati comes back on. So 19 for 14. Matandi comes on. Matandi comes on for Ludwig. Isabella Ludwig. As South Africa now, the good turn in the middle. They put the ball into space, but not quite enough pace on it. Burkina Faso win it back and they start the next direction. Possession is starting to shift a little bit more in the Ivorian Tanzania game, about 57-43. As South Africa tries to get across in on the other side. This is madness that I'm trying to do this. But nothing to show. And so we'll actually just swip it here and keep her going from there. Still 1-0 in both games. As it stands, those with the one will be moving on for one thing. So got a throw in for Burkina Faso coming up. Let me just swap this over to the Tanzania Cote d'Ivoire matchup. Give you a little scroll through as a substitution coming in for that matchup there. I don't have that game up, so let me take a look to see what's going on in that one. But still, both sides doing what they need to do to ensure Cote d'Ivoire looking like they'll go on with 7. And as it stands, South Africa would be advancing with 4. With 4. So Tanzania can change out with one kick. One swing of a leg can change the outcome for all these teams. As Tanzania are searching and probing and trying to find an opportunity. They've had some set piece opportunities. They've had some dead ball. They've had some transition moment. But we'll see if it'll come to something. It's got to come and it's got to be something. As the Ivorians start to move the ball into a more dangerous spot, they get the ball to the edge of the box here on the left side. Can we do something with this? Can we get the ball in? We're looking like a cross to come through. This could be deadly. And now I want to see it. I need to see this now. I need to see this. Okay, go. Yeah, commercial. I need to see this. Commercial, come on. Okay. Rugby trash. Cool. So they're calling it a penalty and they're going to take a look at it. They're definitely going to take a look at it. This feels like more of a penalty, but we're definitely going to look at this. So Cote d'Ivoire might give South Africa a little bit more breathing room as it's a penalty. It's a straight penalty. The rep called it. They reviewed it. It's there. Here comes Conan. Can he make it 3? Can you make it 2? Steps up direct, goes right, 2-0. South Africans can now breathe, but they cannot concede. South Africa needs another goal to be safe. It is now 2-0 Cote d'Ivoire. 2-0 Cote d'Ivoire over Tanzania. At this point, all but securing top spot for the Ivorian. But this means for South Africa, they need a second goal just to be safe. The Ivorians have done everything for South Africa. Now they just need to make sure they get goal number 2. And so with that, Burkina Faso, South Africa, we're back in the game. That game now becomes the only thing that matters with Cote d'Ivoire up 2-0. As in substitution, you have Magaya, number 8, going off for South Africa. Coming on is Salgado coming on for her. So 8 for 9. And now, Burkina Faso know that a draw gets them in and eliminates South Africa. South Africa need a second goal to make sure they go through. And now this is the only game that matters. With the Ivorians up 2-0, this is the only game that matters now until Tanzania score a goal in that game, but then the whole thing opens up. So South Africa now with the throw. Let's see what they can do with their opportunities here. As the Burkina Faso players win the ball, now they try to go direct over the top, headed back, but second ball the Burkina Fasons do it first, but South Africa gets to it. No call on the foul for the trip. The Burkina Faso gets by one, puts the ball out wide, cuts back inside, looking for an outlet to pass. No one there, puts it back into the middle. Okay, Burkina Faso now. She's tried to switch the ball, go deep. There looks like an overload for numbers, and claimed by the keeper. And they go direct. It's 1v3 as you see the pace coming through for South Africa, but dealt with and ball thrown back in. 72nd minute in this matchup as possession has narrowed back to 55-45. South Africa need a goal to just secure it. One goal means a draw and they are eliminated. South Africa need a win more than anything as they try to go direct through ball, but it's that why the chip the ball up is try clear, but it's not cleared. Burkina Faso back with the ball. They're moving the ball into the middle. Back out wide. A good touch. Well, poor could be intercepted, but cross back into the middle. Left for the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper claims. 73 and counting. As the throwing comes in. Mondago gets it. She turned. She has space. Puts it into the middle. They're looking. Plays it out wide. Jane gets it. 5 with the ball. Sorry, I can't see the names here, so I'm not giving you names, but I'm giving you. Burkina Faso wins the ball back. They try to go direct, but deflection, and it's a throw in for Burkina Faso. So still 1-0 in this game. This is the only game that matters here. Now, throw is won back by Burkina Faso. It's 2-0 in that game. I'll go check to see actually if we have a score change. Still 2-0. So the Ivorians went from not qualifying to topping their group. That's 2 teams now who have gone from not qualifying to topping their group. And now all eyes are on this matchup. South Africa have second place if they can hold on to this lead. That is the challenge. And for those of you who are in the CONCACAF area who are wondering, it's 1-1 Costa Rica versus Haiti in the quarterfinals for the U20s for CONCACAF. In case you were wondering, I'm sure none of you were, but there's like 3 people who would, and so I'm going to let you know. As we got a deep throw income for South Africa, Banyana Banyana with a deep throw. Here we are. Here we are. Here we are. We got to goes. They go deep, and now we got a throw in coming for South Africa in the attacking end. Dangerous throw coming up. Ball played back into the midfield as they go. Try to put in a diagonal, but no runners for it. Easily claimed by the keeper. And Burkina Faso now begin to go. As Burkina Faso they play back into the middle. Look for options. They try to go over the top here. Try to hold up and send it. A good chip by Burkina Faso. They put the ball out wide. And now Burkina Faso have the ball on the wing. But maybe one touch too many. One touch too many. And it is a goal kick coming up. 75th minute, 15 minutes plus additional time to come. But now this is the only game that matters in this group. One, Burkina Faso supporters will be saying that penalty was a robbery, and maybe it was. It very possibly could have been, but we'll see. As here we go. South Africa trying to build up in the back. They try to play the ball out wide as a free. Nope, as a throwing coming in. So free kick for Burkina Faso coming in from the edge. This is another opportunity that could change everything in this game. This is the only game in this group that matters now. With the Ivorians up 2-0, this does come down to if South Africa can hold on or if the Burkina Faso side can find a draw. A draw means Burkina Faso move through. A win means Burkina Faso move through. Burkina Faso win. But if South Africa hold on to this, they go through. Two teams fighting for the opportunity to face Morocco in Casablanca. This is a life we live. Thank you, everyone who's hung around. If you haven't already, just touch up the like button. Subscribe, like, sub content. We do primarily Canadian and African content here on the Shape of Football. And so we sit and we wait and we look and we for each other's feet. Only a few, not a few moments, but a few minutes left in this game. As we currently have about 14 minutes plus additional time added as the ball is put out wide, but South Africa keeping it inside. And they try to create an opportunity. They try to cross the ball into the middle, but to no one. Second ball goes by the first wave, and Burkina Faso now building up about 12 minutes left, plus additional time. It's now or never for the ladies from Burkina Faso. It is now or never. And for South Africa, it's now. It's put the game away or keep on playing with fire. This is where we sit currently. As South Africa have a free kick. They put the ball in, try to get it into the middle, but it's headed away. Ball is moved off. Burkina Faso get the ball out wide. Now they play the ball in the middle, trying to look for a 1-2, but not there. Turns in the midfield, tries to hold off, but can't. Ball chipped away, and a free kick is given for Burkina Faso. Can they do something with this? Another opportunity for Burkina Faso. Can they do something with this? It's now or never. It's a chance to play at a World Cup or going home. So here we go. Free kick coming here for Burkina Faso. Can they do something on this? I know it's a little bit delayed for you, so apologies. Can they do something? Tries to strike it, but claimed by the keeper. 10 minutes plus additional time to go as Burkina Faso get the ball back, coming on transition, looking for a foul, nothing given. South Africa now with the ball. And they just send it right back down the pitch. You should have played it back to the keeper. Take a little bit of time and build out properly. Set your team up first. None of this, just send it back immediately. Still about 10 minutes. I'd say about, no. Yeah, I'd say about 13 minutes left in this game. So I'd say 4 minutes for the goal stoppage. That wasn't a goal. So the VAR that was given. Ball nearly played through the middle, but defended well. So how he tries to win it back, but then Burkina Faso wins it from there. They try to play the ball out wide, but a poor pass or a deflected pass goes back to South Africa, who win a ping pong back and forth. South Africa saying it back up the pitch, and Burkina Faso saying it back down the pitch. South Africa trying to send it up the pitch, but they a bad control now. Burkina Faso breaking through. Not enough numbers, so she'll have to go 1v1 until the rest of the cavalry arrives. Tries to get out wide, turns, tries to play in the middle. A good pass that could got to, but just past the feet of the arriving player. Now South Africa getting the ball. They're going to try to slowly build this, but they go direct. But the nine now relaxes, sends it further up, but not enough players up for South Africa. Burkina Faso are going to try to turn and get going on their attack here. And coming get the ball directly into the middle, and another free kick coming now for the Burkina Faso. And as South Africa have another change coming on as Donnelly coming on, number 17. And she's going to replace Gatlana. So Katlana coming off. So 11 for 17, for those of you who are keeping track at home. And for South Africa, it's hold on until you can't hold on anymore. For Burkina Faso, one goal changes your fate. One goal changes your fate. And just checking it, it's still 2-0 for the Ivorians over Tanzania, which means we are in the South Africa Burkina Faso matchup because that's the only game that matters. We sit there a few more minutes. If this result holds, as we've said earlier, it is Morocco versus South Africa. And then you would get Cote d'Ivoire versus Algeria. So we have a throw coming in now for South Africa. Part of my stream is buffering a little bit too much here, so we're going to see if South Africa can find their second goal, maybe to seal this. South Africa tries to get the cross in. Badly dealt with. South Africa gets it. Try to play it on. Tries to go outside of the boot, and it goes outside of the target. And so a throw. I'm sorry, a goal kick coming for Burkina Faso. Can they come with this as another free kick from Burkina Faso? It's on them. They've got to find the goal. A goal sends them through. Right now, it's the who wants to play Morocco derby. That's what is at stake here. That is what is at stake here. Thank you, everyone who's hung around, or people who are just here because this is their only option. Appreciate you regardless. We wait to see what comes next. Oh, well, that changed. That certainly changed. All right, so still chipped away. We're about 85 minutes in, still 1-0, and now we got a corner coming up here. Okay, so South Africa gets the ball to Donnelly. Can you do something with this? You're 1v. Oh, tackled, but corner coming for South Africa. Donnelly now getting a chance. South Africa going to end this game with a set piece goal or keep it alive still. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. I'm going to keep this here on the game here. Already 86th minute, kind of 87th. Let's see what we can get here. So there's the corner put in. Tries to go through, cleared by the post defender. Tries to go up and now Burkina Faso turning and going in transition. Gets past one, get past two, but then cleared. But they give the late foul early. They give the early foul. Sorry, but the Burkina Faso players are the attrition is getting to them. They need to put if it's substitutions, make them now. If it's they got to move the ball forward here because this player now unable to get on. Trainer's coming on. She cannot be back on for another minute. And that is what sits here. So 4 minutes probably plus another. Congo was the player who was down, cramping up. She gets off the pitch. Good support from the Burkina Faso fans, supporters. Their supporter sections are there. South Africa just making the most of their one chance. I know the controversy with this game is going to be the penalty wasn't given, why it wasn't given. Refs probably saying that there was a touch before and thus negates the contact. And so South Africa now sitting here minutes away after a deep set piece is put in, bounces, tries to head it on, and claimed by the keeper. Claimed well by the keeper. We have a few substitutions coming in here, and we will keep you up to date with that. But a few moments left in this game here. Still, a few injuries to come through. But if this holds, as we said earlier, the matchup will be Morocco versus South Africa. And now this game will determine who plays Algeria. If it stays as a 1-0 South Africa win, South Africa will face Algeria. I'm sorry, no. Morocco. What am I saying? My brain is mush right now. I apologize. Let's reverse that. Cote d'Ivoire are playing Algeria. And this game, if the result stays the same, it's South Africa versus Morocco. If Burkina Faso equalize, it's Burkina Faso versus Morocco. That is what's at stake over these last few moments. I'm guessing probably another 5 or 6 minutes plus it for additional time, and the tension will be there. So that's what's going on there. And as the commentators do say, and I will be there for this tomorrow, Zambia versus Malawi is really where Group C finishes up because really the winner of that game really impacts who goes through. If Malawi defeats Zambia, then more than likely it'll be Nigeria and Malawi going through. If Zambia defeats Malawi, there's nothing. It's similar to this situation. If Zambia win, there's nothing Nigeria can do. They could win 13-0, but they need Malawi to defeat Zambia for them to have a chance. Nigeria, that is. There we go. Wait. All right. And the time, you have 7 minutes of additional time. That's the number. So 7 minutes is more than enough time as Burkina Faso put the ball in deep, but out of the reach and claimed by the keeper. South Africa goes direct, ball plays, headed over. South Africa tried to win the second ball, but can't get to it. Now Burkina Faso go direct, get the ball into the midfield. They play the ball out wide, try to play the ball back in the middle, but a slip, and now South Africa have the ball, and they could be on the break. She plays a through ball, tries to get through. That's claimed by the keeper. 1 minute down, more minutes to come. As South Africa are pushing as many players behind the ball as possible, and a foul is given, so another free kick coming. So Burkina Faso get a free kick now about 10 feet away from the left corner, headed towards the goal. And this set piece, this is probably as dangerous as a spot as you can get. 7 minutes of additional time, a very dangerous free kick coming. If they can create a goal comes from this, it changes everything in this game, and then it's what can come from this. But here we go. Here we go now with the placement. Here we go with the shot being placed. All right. So here we are waiting for it to be given. Waiting for the delivery. My stream is so buffered, so I'm just getting 2 seconds of action in buffer. So one run, left foot it goes through. No one challenging the goalkeeper, and it's easily claimed. Easily claimed. And so now South Africa try to go direct. They try to quickly hit on the transition on the counter here. Malepe gets the ball, can't get it, is offsides. And offsides given. So Burkina Faso now 3 minutes gone by this reset. And here comes Burkina Faso with a deep free kick coming in. They put the ball up, letting it bounce. Just go and attack it. But play back in the middle. Here comes South Africa now with the ball. They try to clear it, but right back to midfield. Burkina Faso bring the ball right back in. They're looking. She's looking, center back looking. She puts in a diagonal ball. Ball headed over, left out, and that should be a goal kick with the referee very cognizant of the time it takes. And they're gonna go deep. They're gonna go long on this free kick, goal kick specifically. Headed back by Burkina Faso. Headed back out wide. Now here comes South Africa, and they put this away here. She just dribbles to the corner, gets the ball, and throw incoming. Almost some miscommunication, but then they're able to get the ball and get the throw in. And South Africa clearly taking their time here, use as many minutes as possible. They get the ball to the corner. Trying to dribble it out, and another throw in coming for South Africa. Throw in coming. They're holding up. Ball is there, but then one back by Burkina Faso. But then nearly one back, but one back by Burkina Faso. Now Burkina Faso going on a free kick, but tries to advance on the throw, wasting time here into the 5th minute here. Can't be wasting his opportunity. Throwing coming for Burkina Faso here on the edge. Ball goes back into the middle. Just a lot of wasted moments and movements here. Just send it forward and try to win the second ball. South Africa gets some active feet there, tries to win the ball. Do they turn the ball over? Possibly, no, but foul given for Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso plays it quickly. They get the ball to a wide space. It's a 1v2. Can she win it off? But she's shielded off, but she's showing some good physicality, good strength. 15. Gets the ball, crosses in low, but to no one, and played out. And free kick off of a late tackle. And now that's a bad foul to concede. They had to throw, but now you give them the free kick. You got to back off. I know it's desperation time. You got to do something, but you wasted the time in the build-up. We're in the 7th minute. We're waiting, and there it is. There it is. The results are in. What am I, Maury? As stated earlier, the Ivorians are up still, but South Africa, despite losing their opening game, turn it around at the death in the least convincing manner. But South Africa are now locked in to face Morocco next round, as Cote d'Ivoire will face Algeria, as that game is just wrapping up here. Everything is done. Congratulations, Banyana Banyana, on making it through. It was always possible. Burkina Faso, again, another side who had a dream but couldn't get it across the line. And so, as it stands, I'm wondering if they've updated it here. Nothing to show for it. Good run, a win over Tanzania. All they needed was a draw to move on, but they couldn't manage that. And as a result, Burkina Faso eliminated, which means in the slot here versus Morocco in the quarterfinals will be South Africa versus Algeria will be Cote d'Ivoire. Those two things are now set. 1B and 2B are set. And now we wait for 1C and then 2D, which are coming through. Congratulations to South Africa on turning it around. After the first game, I thought, dude, could you do it? But they did. And so all credit for you to turn around, finding the goals that you needed to. And well done, Banyana Banyana. So Morocco, South Africa. That is the matchup is confirmed. It's locked in. Actually, let me see the time. Sorry for all the scrolling. So yeah, on the 8th, which is Saturday. So Saturday, the first matchup is going to be Cote d'Ivoire versus Algeria. And then it's going to be Morocco versus South Africa. That is the lineup for Saturday. And then Sunday, you're going to have Cameroon versus one of 3 teams. And then the second game on Sunday is going to be either Mali or Ghana versus one of 3 teams in Group C. So that group is complete. Group B is done. This isn't updated, but I'll show you the table as it is set. Cote d'Ivoire finishing the top of their group, then South Africa after that. 7-4, they get it done, and winning a draw gets the job done. Tanzania and Burkina Faso both getting wins. Tanzania's win over South Africa we thought would have doomed South Africa, but South Africa turning around. Tanzania unable to find points in their next 2 matchups that would have brought them through. In competitions where spots are limited, 4 points can do the trick. And we saw that in this group, unless you're Senegal, in which case 4 points can't do the trick for you. Tomorrow, Malawi and Zambia. The winner, it's a similar situation that we had today with Group B. Nigeria are in the South Africa role, where they're not the bottom of the group, but they're going to play Egypt, and they'll more likely defeat Egypt. But they can only make it through if Malawi defeats Zambia. They cannot pass Zambia because they do not have the head to head. See, wait, this is the other way around. Why would we always do this? I'm sorry, guys. I am sorry. This is wrong. So as long as Nigeria finish on equal terms, they should go through. So this changes the whole thing I just said. Ignore it. Nigeria, as long as they defeat Egypt, they should be fine. But again, they still need Malawi to defeat Zambia because if there's a group of six, if just three groups with 6 points, I haven't been able to figure out the head-to-head aspect, but I believe Nigeria might get pushed out because Zambia would go to the top over Malawi, and then Malawi being the second place group for head-to-head would have the head-to-head over Nigeria, and they would get pushed out. So Nigeria still need Malawi to defeat Zambia to be safe, or for it to end in a draw. If it ends in a draw, Nigeria go through at second if they defeat Egypt, which we're expecting them to do. And so that's what comes tomorrow. So our eyes will just be at the Malawi Zambia game because I want to see how good both sides are really. I'm there for that tomorrow. I will be seated. I will have soup. I might even get some gari and enjoy it. But that's what's there. So tomorrow, that is what is at stake. Nigeria are ahead because of head to head. But if it ends out as a three-team scenario, as long as Zambia doesn't win, Nigeria goes through. A draw, as long as Nigeria wins, a Zambia draw and a Nigeria win means Nigeria goes through. A Malawi loss makes it complicated because of head to head. That is tomorrow. But for today, congratulations on South Africa on turning it around. You have Morocco on Saturday. And Cote d'Ivoire, from not making a tournament to topping the group, they are now the second side who didn't qualify for this were added, and now two teams have who didn't qualify for this competition. I'm not even trying to say it in a mean way, but two teams who didn't qualify for this competition have two chances to qualify for the World Cup. What a turnaround for them. That'll do it for us today, guys. Thank you for being here. If you haven't already, touch that like button, subscribe, make a notification. We'll be back here at 3 p.m. Eastern tomorrow to talk about the game that is coming up. And I actually need to make sure that I'll have time to do that because tomorrow is also Canada, Jamaica, and let's fine. Let me just make sure of this. Let me make sure of this. Let me check this. Let me check this timing. All right. So that's okay, so that's tomorrow at what time? Ah, well, I might not be here tomorrow, guys. Ah, the same time. Actually, no. Wait. Let me confirm this here. Let me confirm this here before I just get angry for no reason. All right, let me confirm if I'm going to be here tomorrow because I'd be very disappointed if I realize I have to choose. Now this feels right. Let me just confirm it. This is yeah. Oh goodness. Thank you. Okay, I will be here all day. I will basically be here all day. Yeah, I'll be here all day because we'll do the Wafcon games. Then from there, I'm going to jump right into U20 CONCACAF action. So I'll be here all day. Think of my children. I don't have any, but think of my psychosis. But guys, that'll do it for us today. Again, congratulations to South Africa turning around and Cote d'Ivoire for qualifying the top. We now know 5 teams who are in the quarterfinals, and they are Cote d'Ivoire, Morocco, South Africa, Algeria, and Cameroon. Five African sides now will have two opportunities to qualify for the Women's World Cup in 2027 and also battle to take on the Women's African Cup of Nations trophy, a trophy that is currently right behind me. This beautiful thing that they'll be fighting for. But South Africa 1, Burkina Faso nil, Cote d'Ivoire 2, Tanzania nil. Tomorrow, it all comes down to watching Nigeria and Egypt, but more importantly, Malawi versus Zambia, as that is going to dictate how Group C finishes. Guys, thanks for being here. Again, if you haven't already, touch up that subscribe button. Let's get to 1,500. And if you haven't already, like this video. We appreciate you. Thank you. As always, I'll just stop talking right here.